Have you ever really thought about what happens in that tiny moment after you hit enter on an AI prompt? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the incredibly smart system that takes our simple, everyday requests and turns them into powerful, detailed instructions that these big language models can actually understand and get right.
It's a fantastic question, right? We've got these AIs that can do amazing things, but to get a truly great result, we often have to feed them these super specific, almost robotic instructions. It feels like there's this weird gap between how powerful they are and how easy they are to use. Okay, so let's make that gap really clear. On the left, you've got a perfectly normal human request, create a Fibonacci function. But look at the right. That is what the AI actually needs to nail it every single time. We're talking detailed instructions on validation, documentation, even how to handle weird edge cases. And the system we're looking at today, it's built to bridge that exact gap, all on its own.
Here's a great way to think about it. Imagine a professional kitchen. You're the customer and you just walk in and say, "I'd like some pasta." Simple enough. The system we're exploring is the entire kitchen staff, all the specialized chefs who take that one-word order and write up a super detailed professional recipe for the head chef using the fancy high-end oven. And in our case, that oven is the LLM. So that's what we're going to do. For the rest of this explainer, we're going to follow our little Fibonacci function prompt as it travels through this kitchen step by step and see exactly how it gets transformed from a simple request into a masterpiece recipe.
All right, let's start by looking at the big picture, the basic anatomy of this AI copilot. It's a journey with a few really critical stops along the way.
The whole journey really breaks down into 4 key stages. First, the system has to figure out what you actually want. Second, it's got to protect any important details you've already given it. Then, it goes and finds the perfect recipe to flesh out your request. And maybe the coolest part, the whole system is constantly learning how to do its job better.
So, our prompt has just entered the system, and its very first job is to understand the user's true intent. It's not just reading words, it's looking for meaning.
The first thing it does is give the prompt a sophistication score. Basically, by looking at the language and structure, it figures out if this prompt came from a beginner or an expert. A low score, which our simple Fibonacci function prompt would definitely get, is a clear signal that this user is going to need a lot of help.
Next up, it figures out the context. Are we trying to write code, make a picture, or just have a chat? By spotting keywords like function, the system immediately tags our prompt's goal as code generation. This contextual awareness is absolutely critical to giving the right kind of help.
Okay, so the system knows what we want. Its next job is to act like a guardian, making absolutely sure that no critical information gets lost or mangled during the optimization process. Let's switch examples for a second. Imagine you generating an image. You type a cat, photorealistic, /AR, 16:9. Now, the part about a cat photorealistic is subjective. The system can probably improve that. But that last bit, /AR 16:9, that's a precise technical command for the aspect ratio. It has to be protected at all costs.
So how does it protect it? Well, it uses a very specific rule. This little piece of code you're seeing here, it's basically a search pattern. It's designed to do one thing and one thing only: find any aspect ratio commands in the prompt and lock onto them. Once it finds that parameter, it temporarily swaps it out for a secure placeholder. It's like putting it in a little safe. Now, the rest of the prompt can be rewritten and beefed up without any risk of messing up that crucial detail. Don't worry, it gets put back perfectly at the very end. So our prompt's intent is understood, and its critical details are safe. Now we get to the real core of the system, the smart template engine. This is where the transformation really happens.
This part is really the heart of it all. The system scans our prompt for keywords, words like Fibonacci and function. These keywords act as triggers, matching a pre-written recipe, a template that it has in its library, and that template contains all the good stuff, all those details needed for a top-quality result.
And just like that, our vague, 3-word prompt has been blown up into that comprehensive, machine-ready set of instructions we saw at the beginning. It's now perfectly structured for the LLM to knock it out of the park. But just having a great set of recipes isn't enough. The most powerful part of this whole system is that it's not static. It is constantly learning and fine-tuning itself for success.
And get this, when this system was first turned on, its success rate was a big fat 0. Seriously, turns out its internal settings, these confidence thresholds, were set way too high. It was basically too scared to make a mistake, so it ended up not helping with any prompts at all.
To fix this, the system uses something called a Bayesian optimizer.
You can just think of it as an automated scientist in a lab coat. It runs thousands of tests on a dataset, measures how well it did each time, and then intelligently tweaks its own internal knobs and dials to find the absolute perfect settings for the best results.
And the results of this self-tuning are, well, pretty dramatic. The system's performance score just skyrockets from basically nothing to being highly effective. It literally teaches itself how to be a better co-pilot, making sure it gives just the right amount of help at just the right time.
So we've followed our prompt all the way from a simple idea to a fully optimized instruction. Let's do a quick recap and then look at what this all means for the future.
So let's trace that journey one last time. We started with just a few simple words. From there, the system figured out our real intent, it put our critical details in a safe place, and then used a smart template to expand it into the perfect recipe. All of this guided by a learning process that automatically tuned it for success.
This all brings us to a really fascinating final thought. Systems like this are pushing AI beyond just understanding the literal words we type. They're starting to understand our intent. So the real question is, once that translation is seamless, once they always know what we mean, what new, bigger, and more amazing things are we going to ask them to do next?